Hey everyone, welcome to Live with LeRoy prior to the Packers Falcons game. What are you studying your flip card there?
I just think it's going to be a shootout, so I'm writing down the score.
Well, I am live here at Lambeau Field. You are live there in your den, and it's going to be an interesting game. I should have listened to you earlier in the week when you said that it was unlikely that they were going to let Devontae Adams play. And I think you might have even said that about Kenny Clark, too, that you would hold him out before the bye. Lo and behold, both guys are inactive today.
Yeah, these soft tissue injuries, you really got to be careful. Remember, Julio Jones is going to play tonight, Tom. He's been out a few weeks. If you look at most of the guys around the league, it's been a lot of injuries. I mean, if your fantasy football team is looking all jacked up, hey, welcome to the club, right? But the Allen Lazard injury is going to be something you really got to keep an eye on because he's going to be out probably for the season. So the Reggie Bingleton show may start tonight. A lot of people have been clamoring to see him. But Tom, it come back down to MVS. Can he be a number one receiver? He's going to get a lot of the attention, whether these young guys in the secondary double him or not, we don't know. But one thing I want to give you a nugget. If it was me and, Dan Quinn, he's supposed to be a defensive specialist, the head coach of the Falcons, I would put Deion Jones on Aaron Jones all night and just do like a boxing one and see can you try to neutralize him. Otherwise, it can be a long night.
Yeah, it can be a long night. And, I think the difference between there's really one reason why Julio Jones is playing and Devontae Adams is not. It's the record. The Packers are 3-0 and the Falcons are 0-3.
Great
and
point.
If it were any different, then we might see Devontae Adams in this game, or if the roles were reversed. But the Falcons can't wait any longer. I mean, they got to have him back. So, Matt LaFleur is banking that he can win at home without two of his best players and looking for the future. Now, Falcons are without a couple of guys. They're going to be missing both their starting safety. Keanu Neal is a big thumping safety that would be up in the box to play against Jones. Do you think Aaron Jones becomes the focal point of their attack now?
Well, Aaron Jones he's your receiver, the receiver that you're missing because you don't have any. Him and Tyler Irvin will be big in this game plan tonight. A lot of misdirection stuff. But if you're Aaron Rodgers, this team goes all the way back to 2010 when the Packers had to beat them on the divisional round to get to the Super Bowl. But if you think about it, Tom, you step back and think about it. The Atlanta Falcons said, we need to keep up with the Joneses, and the Joneses are Green Bay. So they went out and traded everybody for Julio Jones. And it kind of worked. These guys were able to beat the Packers a few years back and go to the Super Bowl, although they lost 28-3. I mean, they were up 28-3 and still lost.
Yeah.
I thought that draft was to keep up with the Packers. And Matt Ryan, I wouldn't be surprised, that for some reason the Atlanta Falcons come out, they're up 14-0.
Yeah.
They come out fast, but they just don't end well.
I agree. They're going to attack. They're going to come out, and they're going to make the secondary defend and see if, do what teams have been doing since Kenny Clark has been out, which is double Zadarius Smith and not really worry about anybody else all that much and make, the Kingsley Kikis and the other guys beat them. And that's a smart strategy. You expect that to happen? You expect them to take some shots early?
I really do. Ty Summers will be making his first start. They're going to let Todd Gurley. They're going to run him. Although Todd Gurley is not the Gurley of a few years back, they're going to still run the ball with him, just like Adrian Peterson ran the ball for Detroit. If you look at the way to beat the Green Bay Packers, although their offense is setting records for scoring points, their defense is still giving up a lot of points. But the reason why you're in this predicament because you could not stop the run against San Francisco. But again, when you have a Hall of Fame quarterback like Matt Ryan, they won't stick to the run. He'll try to throw it, and hopefully he'll throw it to Savage for a pick six, and that's the way they lose the game. But as far as Ty Summers, I pick him to have a great game. He doesn't need to do all this athletic stuff, Tom. Just line everybody up and don't make any mistakes. They're going to miss tackle. So I just tell people, if you see a guy out there, a number you don't recognize, if he misses a tackle, don't get upset about it.
Yeah.
There's a reason why these guys were on practice squad. There's a reason why Reggie Bingleton didn't make the 53. So if he drops a pass, give him some space. This will be their 4th preseason game, Tom. So, and that's around the league. So with that being said, I expect the Packers to put their young guys in a position to make plays. You just got to pray. But I will say this real quick. Kevin King was also drafted to stop Julio Jones. He's 6'.
Yeah.
He can run. When he was a rookie, he went out and covered Julio Jones, but he got injured. That was the difference in that game.
Yeah, so I'm looking at I wanted to make sure I didn't miss anybody, but I pulled out the flip chart to look at who their wide receivers are. No Adams, no Lazard. So we're talking MVS, as you mentioned,
Yep.
Darius Shepard, Malik Taylor, and Reggie Beggleton. So then you don't have Mercedes Lewis, who is also inactive.
Yeah, okay.
And
what about Josiah DeGuara? Is he still inactive?
who is that?
Josiah DeGuara, the 3rd round pick? Is
No, he is active.
Okay, there's your H-back. He replaces Mercedes.
Right.
I expect Robert Tonyan to have a big day in the red zone.
Yeah, and a number of people on your Facebook page have also mentioned, and I mentioned this last week, Tyler Urban has got to show up at some point. And I thought he did show up a lot last week. It's just that they didn't give him the ball. They used him a lot on the jet motions, and that helps set up, some of those wide runs and then the bootlegs to Robert Tonyan. So do you think you're going to see a lot of that again?
Yeah, because he's going to be on a weak side linebacker or a safety, a new safety. So you can see him having a big game. So that's a good question. They don't have a lot of great receivers. And in this system, Tom, you really don't need a lot of great receivers. Just catch the ball. Even if you fall where you are, that's 10 yards.
Mm-hmm.
Catch the ball. Because I can see Aaron Rodgers getting upset because he don't have chemistry with these guys. So if it goes behind them at their foot, over their head, that's just the missing chemistry. But the one thing I say about Matt LaFleur, he's been preparing these guys since April. If you come in a pandemic, okay, and doing COVID-19, you got to be ready to play. We don't have a JV anymore. Even the practice squad is expanded now. You can be moved up at any time, and that's why Reggie Bingleton, he'll get his chance tonight.
Okay, before we take off, give me a guy on each side of the ball that has to have a big game today.
Well, for me, on the offensive side, it got to be MVS. He has to prove that the reason why the Green Bay Packers are still catching smoke because they didn't draft the receiver because he hasn't shown up. He'll be the number one option tonight. Show people why they didn't get a receiver. Be the big-time guy I think you can be. On defense, Darnell Savage has to be the guy. If you look behind everybody on defense, it's always a guy. When you look behind a safety, it's a touchdown. Do not take play fakes. If you see the word Ryan, it's play action. Get depth. Do not attack the line of scrimmage. This is the one game. Be cautious. Don't be a hitter. Be a tackler. So if it was me, MVS and Savage, they got to play well for the Packers to win.
Yeah, we talked about that and showed it in X's and O's. Yes. And we saw it with that play against the Bears where Eddie Jackson got caught looking in the backfield, and sure enough, there it goes, getting too aggressive. So if they can do it,
quarterbacks tonight, Tom, are the best in the league at ball handling. You got to really guess when they have it, so you got to be cautious.
Yeah. So do you think this is going to be a last team that has the ball kind of game, or do you think someone's just going to wear the other one out by the end of the night?
Oh, that's a great question. I really think it'll be somewhere in the middle. I really expect Atlanta to jump out 14-0, something like that. Or on the flip side, I expect the Packers to go out 28-0, and maybe they tie it up in the third quarter, and the Packers just not just been a fourth quarter team. Mm-hmm. They have not. So prove the analytics. The Packers should be anywhere even with them in the fourth quarter and just run away with it. That's what I expect.
Okay, and just to reiterate, you do agree with LaFleur's decision to keep those two guys out of the game, Kenny Clark and
Perfect by LaFleur. I texted him that and told him, don't play these guys. I really don't have his number. It's just funny. Don't play them. You got a bye week next week. You need them for the stretch run. Get to 4-0. The odds are that 85% chance, I made that number up, that you'll make the playoffs. 4-0 is very strong in this league, especially when so many guys getting hurt, Tom. And with COVID-19, you see what happened to Cam Newton. You really don't know. Win as many games as possible so you can come back full strength week 6 and you'll be ready to go.
And then before we go, I was just I have ESPN on, and they were showing a coin flip from a Vikings game where you made the call, and it looked like it was almost like you couldn't see the coin. And I couldn't remember what game it was from. If it was the overtime game with Antonio Freeman, or
I don't remember.
You don't remember that? I thought for sure you would remember which game that was. It was pretty funny. You were pretty excited about the coin flip.
I'm always excited. Who's the more optimistic guy you do?
Yeah, let's not find out that you were betting in Vegas on coin flips later.
You got to have money for that. I have no money. I'm totally broke.
All right, so be sure.
I think Bill has some breaking news. Our executive producer, Bill, has the LeRoy Game Day brats. I think we can. There it is.
Wow.
Yes. So I want to thank VinnySausage.com for giving me an avenue to create my entire new line, and it'll be out everywhere. Matter of fact, we will have a number on 5 questions that I'll release in a website that you can go to and order them. I want to put them in the fans' hands before they get all commercialized and in all of the stores.
Okay.
Of course, they're going to be in pick and save. But I want to give the fans a chance to order them first, or maybe next week. I have the website. You can order them. I also want to thank the Jewelry Center. That's where I got my wife's ring from. So if I trust them, you should do the same thing. And, of course, I want to thank Pick and Save and Ivanhoe's Pub and Eatery in Racine, Mount Pleasant area.
Okay, great. And I want to remind everybody that I'll be jumping over to the live blog in about 15 minutes.
I'm gonna send you a question. You better hit.
Yeah. If it's LeRoy from Wisconsin, I'm not answering it.
Hey, you be nice to me. I'll tell Bill to cut you out. You also, you know what? I will say this in closing. You look way better with a mask than out one. I'm just saying.
I think it highlights my best features.
Yeah, well, I don't know about that. Your hair is your best feature, and you got on headphones, so maybe not.
Yeah, all right.
Anyway,
we'll be back later this week with 5 questions, and everybody enjoy the game.
Bye.